Hello, welcome to class today. Things are a little different. I'm a little lonely without you all. Check out our classroom. Missing you guys. Hopefully I'll see a lot of you at our Google Hangout later today. Okay, now we are ready for, let's see, 32 to 38. Okay. See, I have a different section. We're on different pages from our virtual friends in class, so I'm making sure I'm on the right spot. Okay, yesterday we finished reading about Mrs. Twit ballooning down and landing on her husband. And I want you to remember, why do you think she was so surprised, or he was so surprised to see her again? Okay, maybe if you remember, he was thinking she was gone for good, right? And then she came back, and she was not very happy, as I probably would not be either. So our next chapter is called The House, the Tree, and the Monkey Cage. And I will show you the picture to preview. So that helps us kind of get an idea more of our setting. So we're definitely outside. It's definitely kind of a gloomy feeling. It doesn't look very happy. Here we go. But that's enough about that. We can't go on forever watching these two disgusting people doing disgusting things to each other. We must get ahead with the story. Here is a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Twit's house and garden. Some house. It looks like a prison, and not a window anywhere. Who wants windows? Mr. Twit had said when they were building it. Who wants every Tom, Dick, and Harry peeping in to see what you're doing? It didn't occur to Mr. Twit that windows were meant mainly for looking out of, not for looking into. And what do you think of that ghastly garden? Mrs. Twit was the gardener. She was very good at growing thistles and stinging nettles. I always grow plenty of spiky thistles and plenty of stinging nettles, she used to say. They keep out nasty, nosy little children. So I'm sure you can think what a spiky thistle would be. A stinging nettle is a type of plant that has tiny little furry fibers, and when they touch your skin, they give you almost a rash, and they itch and they burn. I've had them plenty. They are not very fun. Near the house, you can see Mr. Twit's workshed. To one side there is the big dead tree. It never has any leaves on it because it's dead. And not far from the tree, you can see the monkey cage. There are 4 monkeys in it. They belong to Mr. Twit. You will hear about them later. So I'll show you the picture again now that we've had a little more backstory. So our monkey cage, right here. Can't see them in there. There's the big dead tree, lots of thistles. Mrs. Twit's even working out there. All right, this next part is called Hug Tight Sticky Glue. Once a week on Wednesdays, the Twits had bird pie for supper. Mr. Twit caught the birds and Mrs. Twit cooked them. Mr. Twit was good at catching birds. On the day before Bird Pie Day, he would put the ladder up against the big dead tree and climb up into the branches with a bucket of glue and a paintbrush. The glue he used was something called Hug Tight, and it was stickier than any other glue in the world. He would paint it along the tops of all the branches and then go away. As the sun went down, birds would fly in from all around to roost for the night in the big dead tree. They didn't know, poor things, that the branches were all smeared with horrible Hug Tight. The moment they landed on a branch, their feet stuck, and that was that. The next morning, which was Bird Pie Day, Mr. Twit would climb up the ladder again and grab all the wretched birds that were stuck to the tree. It didn't matter what kind they were, song thrushes, blackbirds, sparrows, crows, little Jenny wrens, robins, anything. They all went into the pot for Wednesday's bird pie supper. Here's your picture. So first he's painting it on, then they get stuck, and there they all are in the pie. And our last story today is called 4 Sticky Little Boys. And I want you to think right now, based on the clue in our title of the chapter, what do you think might happen? 4 sticky little boys. On one Tuesday evening, after Mr. Twit had been up the ladder and smeared the tree with Hugtite, 4 little boys crept into the garden to look at the monkeys. They didn't care about the thistles and stinging nettles, not when there were monkeys to look at. After a while, they got tired of looking at the monkeys, so they explored further into the garden and found the ladder leaning against the big dead tree. They decided to climb it, just for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. The next morning, when Mr. Twit went out to collect the birds, he found 4 miserable little boys sitting in the tree, stuck as tight as could be by the seat of their pants to the branches. There were no birds because the presence of the boys had scared them away. Mr. Twit was furious. "As there are no birds for my pie tonight," he shouted, "then it'll have to be boys instead." He started to climb the ladder. "Boy pie might be better than bird pie," he went on, grinning horribly. "More meat and not so many tiny little bones." The boys were terrified. "He's going to boil us," cried one of them. "He'll stew us alive," wailed the second one. "He'll cook us with carrots," cried the third. But the fourth little boy, who had more sense than the others, whispered, "Listen, I have an idea. We are only stuck by the seats of our pants. So, quick, unbutton your pants and slip out of them and fall to the ground." Okay, now before I finish that chapter, here's our picture of them stuck. Mr. Twit climbing up after them. So quick, unbutton your pants and slip out of them and fall to the ground. Mr. Twit had reached the top of the ladder and was just about to make a grab for the nearest boy when they all suddenly tumbled out of the tree and ran for home with their naked bottoms winking at the sun. You ready for the picture? There they go. Just in the nick of time. All right. I will tell you our next chapter so you can start thinking. We're back to those monkeys, and it's called The Great Upside Down Monkey Circus. So we will see what happens next. But I'm relieved those boys thought of a plan. All right. So you have the long weekend off. Please keep reading your chapter books. I am encouraged by all your hard work in reading. Read a little bit each day. Remind yourself what you read the day before so that you remember. When you come back, you'll be ready to take an AR test. Remember, no school Monday, no virtual, no nothing. So everyone has the day off to relax, including your teacher. So have a wonderful, wonderful 3-day weekend. Miss you guys.